For those who don't realize it, there is a cultural war that is raging. But unfortunately, many Christians don't see it. And many are on the wrong side, fighting for the wrong team. So let's explore this concept so we can renew our minds and see the real battle. Culture is environment. Our environment has enormous influence and control over our natural bodies. The environment surrounds us and accounts for the air we breathe, the sunshine, the water, and all the other elements that sustain natural life. Likewise, because we are multidimensional beings, that is, we are a spirit being who has a soul and lives in a body, our environment is also multidimensional. Culture is the soulish environment that we all live in, which impacts our daily lives in profound ways. When we look at culture as environment, it makes it much easier to understand. So we can see and easily interact with the natural dimension, but what about the soulish dimension? Well, to understand our multidimensional environment, you must understand that it includes all three levels: the spirit, soul, and body. We understand the natural dimension of environment, but what about the other dimensions? The next level of environment operates at the soulish level. At this level, the environment impacts your mind, your will, and your emotions. In order for the environment to impact at this level, God established something called culture. Culture is the environment that interacts with our soulish realm at both the mental and the emotional levels. As our soul finds pleasure in natural things in culture, it becomes attached as an act of the will to something mentally or emotionally stimulating and enjoyable. Why is American culture so wicked? By itself, culture is neither good nor bad. Rather, it takes on the personality and traits of the dominant kingdom. To use a natural example, as Rome conquered distant lands and folded them into its empire, they needed a method of capturing people mentally and emotionally. To capture people physically only ensures never-ending wars. But if you capture people mentally and emotionally and get them to want to become Roman citizens, then they will fight for you. Rome pioneered this concept, offering a path to Roman citizenship to many conquered people. The tool or method that they used was called culture. So Rome exported their culture to distant territories and immersed the people in Roman culture, including Roman law, language, architecture, style, entertainment, etc. As the newly conquered territory was immersed in Roman culture, they were gradually transformed into the image of Rome. Now, because there are only two overarching kingdoms, the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness, it's clear that both kingdoms want the same goal, although they have different strategies for achieving it. So because the predominant law on earth is the law of sin and death, and because all people have the sin nature operating inside them, culture always gravitates in a downward direction towards hell. The Bible says that Satan is the god of this world. It also says that he is the prince of the power of the air, and that he controls the course, that is the direction of the cosmos world system. Why is culture so important? As stated, culture is critical because it is the environment that we all live in. For example, the best way to learn a new language is not to take a class, but rather to be dropped into a culture where that is the only language spoken. In that environment, out of necessity, you will be forced to assimilate and to learn the language and the culture, and you will do so very quickly. This is the power of culture. This is the reason why many children often have a difficult time in school. It's because they leave the culture of their family and go into the culture of the failed public educational system. And peer pressure sets in. Peer pressure is the cultural force applied to children that pressures them to conform. But this happens every day as pressure is applied to each of us to conform to the culture. But God tells us not to be conformed to the culture or the world's values, but rather to be transformed by the reprogramming of your mind. So Satan's strategy is to use earth culture to entice your flesh and get you to conform, while God's plan is to use heaven culture to help you transform into who you were created to be. So culture is essential because it is the environment that produces children of heaven or children of hell. This is the battle of our generation. So the question is, will you serve your generation by advancing the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of hell?